Hey everybody, welcome to another Paranormal Q&A with Jack Kenna and Carly Hall. Sorry for technical difficulties tonight. We're a little bit behind, just having some issues. My other computer kind of just decided it's not working tonight, and I had to set up another computer, and then we were having some sound issues with Carly's stuff. But we are here once again. Hopefully you guys are too. At least some of you maybe will show up, because it is almost 8:30, so that puts us almost a half hour behind. So if you haven't been looking or gave up on us, we totally understand that. But hopefully some of you will come back and be able to have a interesting Q&A tonight. So, it's been a good week. I see Ruth is on. Hello, Ruth. And, there's Kathy. Hey, Kathy. And so we got a few people showing up. So anyway, it's been actually a kind of really a nice week this week so far. It was a nice weekend. Got some stuff done. There's Carl. How you doing, Carl? And Carly, how's your sound over there? You haven't said anything.
Afraid to talk.
You got to speak. They got to hear you. All right. So it's a little low now. So now I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, although that could be my volume. Don't worry about that. I turned my volume down too, just in case that was the issue. So yes, a lot of interesting stuff is going on. Oh, Kathy says she just watched the show. Yes, we had a new show. That's on now. It's not my show, but it's called My Paranormal Nightmare, and I was on episode 2 of season 1 just this past weekend, and I'm sure it's out there on demand. And actually did record it off the TV. So you know what? Let's try something here and see what we can do. I'm gonna just give something a shot. And if you guys hadn't seen it, if you guys have any questions about it or anything else for that matter, we're always here. Our purpose here is to answer your questions, as always. So if you got any questions, ask them about anything, whether it's a show or any of it. So don't be afraid to reach out. But I'm going to see if I can find this. What did I do with it? Oh, here it is. Let's see if this will work. Oh, that's doing that. Never mind. All right. So it's not working the way I thought it was, but I can probably try to do this. So there's Bob Burnell. How you doing, Bob? Denise, I'm enjoying your show. Okay. So she's either watching it now. It was very interesting. Kathy says, yeah, it was more interesting to live it. I'll tell you that much. Thank you, Barry. Barry says it's a great show. Thank you. Very appreciate it very much. So, it was a very interesting thing to live through. I would tell you this. I don't know if they didn't totally cover everything the way they should have, but that's normal. I mean, I'm not upset by it. I was actually very pleased with how it came out. Turned out very well. They told it correctly for the most part. Some things I know they touched on it, but really that experience drove me away from everything paranormal. I left everything paranormal after that experience. What they also didn't tell you is when I had that experience, that thing, it wasn't a dream. Trust me, it was not a dream. I was awake during that whole thing. I literally couldn't move and physically was frozen by the whole thing. How you doing, Kara? So when I actually saw that thing, the voice that came through, they talked about the voice that came through. And it wasn't a human voice that came through and chased it away. It didn't sound male nor female. It brought a very calming feeling over me before it drove that thing out. And it just said, basically, don't worry, you're going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. You have things to do. And then it told that thing to get out and chased it off. And And they didn't totally cover that in there, but that's the more details of it. And but yeah, that thing I saw, I didn't even remember that experience until I don't know if anybody else has seen it, Zach Bagans' The Demon House. I just decided I was going to watch it. I knew it was a documentary. I had heard it was a lot different than his shows. So I sat down and watched it one night by myself. And when they showed the demon thing that he said he saw in his dream, that's exactly what I saw. So if you watch The Demon House and you see what they showed on there, that's actually closer or almost the exact same thing I saw than what they kind of showed on mine. And that's when that memory came back. And I was watching that show and I saw that thing and became terrified again. And it suddenly came back to me what I'd seen. Actually, I had to stop watching his show at that point. I would go back and watch the whole thing later on, but I had to deal with that. I was like suffering from PTSD for a minute. And then, interestingly enough, it was only 2 weeks later, I got a call asking me to tell my origin story. So, things tie in weird ways. And you never know how it's gonna bring you there. So people say, well, why'd you get back into the paranormal for? You got to remember that was a think of it this way. It was a memory, an experience I had that I buried so deep because it was that terrifying. I forgot about it over the years. I mean, you're talking 20 some years later when I got into the paranormal. Right. And Ghost Hunters came on. And I got really interested in it again. And I knew I had gotten away from it for some reason. I was kind of frightened of it. But over the years, I had forgotten. About that experience until, again, I saw Zach Bagans' The Demon House. And I saw that thing, what he saw. I tell you, if that's what he saw, that's the exact same thing I saw. Exactly, which is why I believe that he actually did see that in his dream. I saw it actually in waking form. So go figure. Very interesting. There was an out of body experience I had during that whole scenario. And it was just many, many years later that I got back into the paranormal and ended up where I am now and finally remembered that experience. And now it all ties in. It actually all makes sense why I do what I do. And I see Mike and Jenny Deinhardt, our good friends, are here. Eddie Pence, Timothy, Booga, Timothy. That's my friend Tim Morsh. So yeah, it was a very, very terrifying, very interesting experience that brought me, out of the paranormal and then eventually back into it. But the interesting thing is, over that 20 some years, everything else I pursued in regards to just, spending more time getting away from everything paranormal, getting closer to my the church, my faith, and also, and even then I got a little bit away from that, to be honest with you. But getting closer to my friends, going out, doing more stuff in the outdoors, spending time with family, doing things like that. Actually, even learning the technical stuff, the computer technologies and videography. I used to do wedding videos for people. I used to do that part-time on the side. Even the work I do in the for the Department of Defense all led me to be able to do what I'm doing now in the paranormal, which is kind of interesting because never would have thought any of those things would tie in, but they really do in various ways. So it was like I was going through some training before I went back into it. 20 some years of training to get into the paranormal. So interesting stuff. Jenny, I think does have a question. One thing. She just says one thing I admire about you. I'll just throw it up there. So you are the same on camera as you are off camera. Yeah, I am who I am. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I am. Yeah, if you meet me or just see me here, this is who I am. I don't pretend to be anybody I'm not. I don't pretend to be anything I'm not. I am who I am, and I just do what I do to try to help people. And I believe that's what I was brought into this for. And I would say Carly is the same with what she went through. Her experiences were much more terrifying than mine. She went through 8 years of it. I had different things going on and off for certain years, but not like her. I mean, she went through some horrifying experiences with her haunting, 8-year demonic haunting. Huh, Carly? You had 2 of them. Yeah, I only had one big one, but not human, but or even human looking. But yeah, you had 2 that terrified you for every day for decades. Well, almost a decade, almost 10 years. And actually, just about 10 years if you consider the on and off in between the last 2 years.
Went away. They went away Christmas Eve, this past Christmas Eve. That was the last time that I had ever seen them or, anything related to them. So I did get a text from somebody. They always try to weed their way back in, but you can't let them. You can't.
Right.
So that's one thing I'm very grateful for is my foundation in my faith.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
So
that's what protects us.
I was also just listening to the live feed. I'm scared about the volume, but it's all good now. Okay. So, but yeah, no, they're, and you experienced it. They're definitely not something that you want to mess around with. Yep. And not something that you want to underestimate either. So don't be overly cocky, but don't be you got to have that right medium.
Correct. So, and Jenny just mentioned that, yes, Carly's story is a Paranormal Survivor.
Yes.
Was it season 5,
episode 5. It's called Dark Dreams.
Dark Dreams. That's right. Very cool.
Yes.
Very cool. So yeah, and they told your story pretty accurate too.
They did. Yeah. Every show you kind of have to have an ending, so they kind of just closed it off at the end. But the actual ending was last Christmas Eve. But they did a fantastic job, and the whole process of them, interviewing me, and with the emails going back and forth of my story, and they were extremely respectful because they understand like how emotionally taxing it really is to just go back and you're reliving what you went through, and the whole production and the way the episode turned out was amazing, and they're so respectful about it. They really they try their hardest. So I was very happy with how it came out.
Yeah, they really did a great job telling your story. They really did. We do have a question from Bob Burnell. What are both of you takes on spirit boxes? Oh, okay, spirit boxes. I do use one. I've had some very interesting experiences with them. I've had nothing come through. I've had lots of stuff come through, and I know I'm getting a reverberation here. I can hear it. So sorry for the audio issues. I don't know what's causing that. I'm going to close one other folder there. Yeah, I think that may be solving it. Okay. No, Tim says, I don't like you, Jack. April Fools. It's past April Fools, Tim. So anyway, spirit boxes, there's different kinds you can get. There's the regular spirit box, SP7, spirit box, SP11, spirit box. There's the portal boxes and things like that. All of them can help with communication. That's a fact. I mean, all of them can help give you communication with spirit. I've had good success with them. As far as the SP7s and stuff like that, I don't like to listen to them too long because the static just drives me up a wall. So, it can be kind of crazy.
And you want to give the people doing the audio review a break too.
Yes. Yeah, because when you got to review that stuff to actually really catch what's being said, it takes a little time. You gotta go through it. So I do like them, Bob. I do own them, and if you don't have one and you want to add a decent piece of equipment to your arsenal, pick up like an SP7 spirit box, one of the less expensive ones. It's a good start. You can actually even have it. There's an app you can download on your phone that's I think it is the SP7 spirit box, and it works just like the regular spirit box does. So just remember, if you're running in reverse, all it's doing is scanning the channels in reverse. It's not running the sound or the voices in reverse. So people get confused over that. They say, "Oh, look, I heard this voice, and it's clear and it's straightforward, and this thing's running in reverse. It should be all the words should be backwards." No, that's not true. the signals. It's going, rather than scanning forward through all the channels, it's scanning backward through all the channels. But the voices still come through the same way you would hear them, right? So that's always been a little confusion over that. So that's the truth about that. But very worthwhile to have, and not very expensive. At least the SB7 is not that expensive anymore. I think it's like they can get them for like $45 to $55 now. So it's not too bad. I mean, that's one.
I like the variety of answers that you can get. Like, one question I like to ask for them is like, what's your favorite type of music? And more often than not, you'll actually get some music playing, and it's what their favorite music is. You know, they'll actually verbally verify that that's their favorite music. So, you know, it's cool.
Yeah,
I like it.
Barry says yes, the SB7. He likes it too. I do too. I don't use them all the time, but I do use them. Jenny's asked a question: can residual energy left behind haunt you, or only affect you physically? Is residual intelligent? The thing about residual energy is it's just an energy. It doesn't necessarily create a haunting, or it doesn't haunt you, right? It's not going after you personally. It's not intelligent. Residual is just something that will hang out. It plays, if it's a residual type haunting, you may hear footsteps all the time, and or that just replay themselves because it's just the energy that was trapped in the location. It doesn't try to interact with you. It's not trying to go after you personally. It's not going to scratch you or leave bruises or anything like that. It's just residual energy. Residual energy can also just be energy left over after you have a party in your house, right? It's very light energy, very positive energy. It can be negative energy after you have a fight with maybe one of your family members in your house. You have that negativity energy left over. And this is when cleansing your home can come in handy, with using different things like white sage or sage, and a combination of other things. And you can cleanse the home of the energy, right? But you have to open the windows when you're doing this. You have to push that energy out of the house. If you keep your windows closed and doors closed while you're saging your house, all you're doing is moving the energy around. It's not clearing it out. You've got to open the windows and let that energy out of your house. Think of it like spring cleaning. You know, you open your windows in the spring, let all that stagnant air out and stuff. It's kind of what you're doing. Just the use of things like white sage or Palo Santo or things like that just help remove negative energies out of the house, and cleanse it, give it a fresh start. So,
and make sure you really get the tight corners too, because a lot of stagnant energy likes to stay in, like, you know, cluttered areas.
Open up your closet doors when you're doing it. Cleanse them. Cabinets, doors, just open them up while you're doing all that, just to move that energy around and move it out. And you do it in a clockwise motion through your house and through each room. And you always leave a window or a door open to the outside, so you're moving it out of the house. Remember that. It's important to remember. And you usually use a feather or whatever to get that the sage or whatever into those corner areas. Move it around, stuff like that. Just be careful, because you are burning something. You don't want to start a fire in your house, so careful of the ash and things like that.
It will set off a smoke alarm.
It will set off a smoke alarm, yes. So be careful with that. Make sure maybe you should.
If you're not supposed to be burning anything in your apartment,
right? Or turn off the smoke alarm. Don't go near the smoke alarm anyway. At least I could tell you that. Don't get too thick of a smoke. You actually don't need too heavy of a smoke coming from it to do a cleansing. And that's just cleansing of energy. That's not cleansing of spirit. That's a whole little bit more involved thing. I see. So hopefully that answered your question, Jenny. But no, well, as far as energy, she did ask, can it affect you physically? Yes. I mean, energy left in a home, negative energy especially, just left lingering in a home for a long period of time, can affect you physically, make you ill, can make you feel anxious all the time, anxiety. This doesn't necessarily mean it's a spirit, okay? It's just the energy that's built up in the home. So again, it's like doing spring cleaning. You want to clear that energy out. But yes, it can affect you physically. Is a residual intelligent? No, it's not. I think I did answer that. But a residual energy or a residual haunting is not intelligent. It's not a ghost. It's not a spirit. It's not an inhuman spirit. It's not interacting with you. It's just there. It's there whether it can cause things to happen whether you're there or not, right? But it does not interact with you. It's not intelligent. It's not aware of you. It's not aware of anything. It's like a rock. Okay, just gives off energy. Right? So kind of like a quartz crystal in a way, which also give off energy. I had a question. What's my opinion on the SLS camera? I have one that a friend gave me. I love it. I love that camera. It really can show you some interesting anomalies and help you gather more data to indicate a possible haunting. But you do have to be careful because certain items in a home can show as a figure on the SLS camera, and it's not necessarily a spirit figure. It could be sometimes you'll look at a chair and the chair will show that there's a figure in it, but it's actually just picking up the shape of the chair. So you have to be careful. I mean, you have to be careful what you're looking at. If you do see something like that, ask it to interact. If you're getting no interaction and it's just there. Another way to tell is like if you have something that looks like a figure and there's what you're looking at, the item it's sitting on looks like a figure. I had one that was like this little ottoman thing. It was tall and it had a boot sitting on top of it, so it looked like a head and shoulders. When I removed the boot, the figure went away. Okay, when I put the boot back on, the figure was there again. All right, so it was the device picking up this shape as a figure, which really wasn't there. It wasn't a spirit, wasn't a ghost. So you guys got to be careful with it, like anything else. But I do like it. I wish it would run longer. It does go through battery time fairly quickly. But some guys have been doing some work with that, and there is some new ones out there, and I might pick up a new one. But I do like it. Denise, worth having if you do a lot of investigating. If you don't do a lot of investigating, then don't spend the money on it. You're just wasting your money. But if you do a lot of it, or you got a team that you belong to that's been thinking of getting one, and you guys as a team do a lot of stuff, very worthwhile. And Jenny said, thank you. Not a problem. I see. Tim has a question. His question is, I gotta hide it for a second. Oh, how do you know if the spirit box really works? Do we have any good evidence? Thanks. Well, Tim, how you know it's working? How you know you're getting something? It's not just based on the spirit box itself. You can be seemingly getting direct answers to some of your questions. The next part of that is you record all that. You have a digital recorder, whether you record all that information that it's putting out. You have to see if anything, what you think was direct responses to you, you got to go back through it. You can make some assumptions at the time to try to get more information. You can say, hey, that sounded like it said this, so let me go with that. I mean, it helps you during investigation to ask better questions sometimes, or follow a train of thought if it seems to keep responding to you. But you don't know if you really have evidence until after you go back and review it. Did you capture any EVPs other than what was coming through the spirit box at the time? What the spirit box was actually saying, did it relate to the location? Okay, or was it really a direct response to the question you asked? Was there multiple responses to questions you asked? Was it the same voice coming through for every question that you asked? There's a lot of things you got to look at and consider before you can say this is really evidence. And I have had that happen. I have some things where we captured stuff, we have real evidence, what I believe is actual spirit communication because of those things I just mentioned. More than one type of equipment was being used, more than one thing, just what was coming through the spirit box being captured. While we were capturing some of those anomalies or some of those words coming through, we had some light anomalies occur that we captured on video. So we had some personal experiences by some of the people. So you got to look at all of it. You can't just say, "Oh, these words came through, so that's a ghost." At the time, you have to make some assumptions, but before you go and report this to anybody, to the client you're doing this for, or even just for your own um, uh, self edification, all right, you've got to go through all that data you've collected and make it a educated determination. Do things add up? Does it make sense? Is more than one thing going on at the time? Otherwise, if you're just saying, "Oh, I got words came through, and I know that was a ghost," I really could. I wouldn't say that. But I might be getting what I think are responses that could lead me in a direction at the time I'm investigating, which could be spirit communication, but I won't know until after I review everything later on for sure. All right, so I hope that answers your question, Tim. And Chelsea just says, "Hey guys, hey, how you doing, Chelsea?" Jenny said, "Thank you. You're very welcome." Patrick Cross, my buddy Patrick. Hi, Jack. He says, "Do you still use dowsing rods, and do you find it reliable?" I do still use dowsing rods. It's just another tool in the toolbox like any other. I don't use them every investigation. I do like to use them when I am actually working a demonic case. People go, "What?" Well, they're subjective. They are subjective. You can't really say it's 100% evidence. Again, you have to say, at the time you're using them, what I look for with demonic cases, I'm looking for the energy that's coming through them, because you have to let the energy flow through you to the rods to get your responses. So what I'm doing is feeling that energy and feeling what that energy feels like. Is it seem like it's maybe the answers I'm getting aren't truthful? Like something's playing with me? What kind of energy does it feel like? Does it feel a bit negative? Does it feel more positive? So you're feeling it out. But again, it's just a tool to use while investigating. You can't determine whether it's actual communication or not until you look at all your data from that investigation. And do those responses on the divining rods make sense to other responses through other devices? It's the same for any of this stuff, people. Any piece of equipment you're using, you can't just rely on one piece of equipment to tell you you're talking to a ghost, right? Or that you have spoken with a ghost or communicated with one. You have to look at all the data you've collected from all the devices, and even yourself, your own personal, and your maybe people you're with, their personal experiences they had at the time. What did they experience when something else was happening? What was going on? You got to look at all of that. But yes, they are useful. And in actuality, I've said this before. Even the at least here in the States, the roads and grounds guys, the maintenance guys for the roads and stuff, they still use them today to find out where gas lines and pipelines are. A lot of people don't know that, but they actually do. And places where they don't have good maps, they will use divining rods to find where those pipes and stuff are, and it actually does work. This is very interesting. Here's another question from Tim. Another question: will Ghostbox apps on your phone really work? Again, Tim, it's like we were saying before. Whether it's a ghost spirit box, or whether it's an app. All these things can be useful to create spirit communication, but you got to take them with a grain of salt at the time. You can use them while you're investigating to see if they're giving you any answers that make sense to where you are, the location, help guide you towards asking better questions or better investigating techniques during the investigation. But you don't know until after I'll say it again. You don't know until after the investigation and you review all the data that you've collected from all your devices to see if there's some type of connection and see if there's some type of consistency in answers or multiple answers from multiple these devices you're using to know for sure if you had spirit communication or not. Are they useful? Yeah, everything's useful. I'll tell you, a feather is useful. Very subjective, but it's useful. I could tell a spirit, "Here, I got a feather on the floor. Raise the feather for me to say yes." Make it move across the floor to say no. And you may have that happen, and you may have that happen consistently to questions, right? Asking the same question different ways several times. Now, with a feather, could be just air, could be convection that's making it move. You don't know. But if you also capture EVPs at the same time you're getting movement on the feather, very good chance you've actually had real spirit communication. Again, you don't know until after you review all your evidence and all your data. I always like to really say data. So hopefully that answers the question. Carly has not had much to talk about. I'm doing all the talking. I'm gonna let. Oh, I wish. Yeah, you see if we got. Okay, Tim, you have a good night out there too. Here's a question from Barry. For the My Paranormal Nightmare episode, okay, you presented, was that, or do you think that was your father defending you while holding? Oh, the well, yeah, it was not the crucifix. It was my rose. My father's rosary gave you. Actually, I don't think it was my father. They may kind of sound that way. I think it was actually an angel that came, because it didn't. What they didn't tell you in there was that the voice, and I did say it at the time when I was interviewed, the voice at the time I heard wasn't male and it wasn't female. It was just a strange voice, but a very calming voice. It just said, "It's okay. You're going to be okay." And what they didn't also tell you is that I told them it said you have things to do, and then it chased that thing away, and then that was the end of it. So they played up a little bit for TV. They didn't tell it quite exactly as I did, but that's okay. I mean, TV is TV. I get what they're doing. So yeah. But that no, it wasn't my father. I do believe it was something angelic. Did my father have to do with maybe helping send something to me? Probably. Yeah, it's a very good probability. I wouldn't doubt it at all. But the thing itself was, I believe, angelic in nature. There's a lot of questions from being tight, Carly. Sorry. Does my sister Michelle have any interest in investigating paranormal cases? Or any special abilities like you? Yes, she does. She's going on investigations. She doesn't do client cases and stuff like I do. But she is interested in the paranormal. She's experienced it all her life. She has gone on investigations at some locations. Actually, in her day, when she was younger, they broke into some places and did some ghost hunting. Not with equipment. They just would go into places and try to find stuff like that. That was many, 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 many years ago. They wouldn't do that today, and I would never condone that today myself either. But yeah, in their day, they did stuff like that back in their teens. So yeah, she's always had, and she does have some abilities. She does. She picks up on things. She's had a spirit hanging around her for quite a long time. That I think the help of our friend Michelle DeRoche, finally kind of moved along. So yeah, let's hope all that worked. But yes, she does. Let me see. Question on portal for use with the portal for use with the spirit box. Why use a reverb or delay portal? I understand the noise gate pedal, and I would think I can't read some of it. An EQ pedal would be better. Any thoughts? I've used those portal boxes and stuff like that. Like you're talking about, the advantage to them is reducing that background noise, so you're just getting what voice comes through. So you get rid of all that static. That's a great thing.
I personally don't like the reverb.
Yeah, I don't get the reverb either. Yeah, and you can do it without it. I mean, they have ones that you can do it without it. the delay works because you could ask a question, then you're getting that delay before you get a potential response. Yeah, and some of the ones with the reverb, you can turn the reverb off. So and that's a good thing to have. I don't care for the reverb either. I don't think it's gaining you anything. I don't think it helps you hear better.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard enough to understand what's coming through, and it makes it worse having the reverb. At least for me. But it's cool that they can put those in.
Yeah. Here's a good question for you, Carly.
Oh.
It's from Bob, our buddy Bob Mahoney.
Hi, Bob.
So, since I can't go out much because of COVID-19, do I need to do something to charge my crystals? Go ahead.
Yes.
That's all you.
So, with crystals, you need to treat your crystals as if it's like its own entity. Each crystal has its own way of cleansing and recharging. So some crystals may require running under some water, some prefer sand, some prefer moonlight for cleansing. You really have to do some research. It depends on what type of crystal you have and what the purpose for it is. I do know that most crystals do love cleansing under moonlight. And then you can just, tonight, I think tonight's a full moon. So tonight would actually be perfect to put your crystals out on the windowsill, let them recharge or cleanse, and then leave them on the windowsill the next day. Hopefully tomorrow will be sunny, so that the sunlight can recharge the crystal. And this is a good way to get a look over of your crystals and see if there's any cracks. And if there are cracks, I think it would be time to replace them. They need a lot of TLC. More TLC than I think people realize. And, especially with people being inside all the time, it's absorbing all of that energy. So it's definitely important to make sure that you take care of your crystals.
Right. Very good.
But you do have to do research. It just depends on what crystal you have.
Correct. And if you tell Carly which crystal you have, we can give you more information too.
Yes.
And Barry, don't worry. You forgot it was a rosary. No big deal. I still have that rosary. I still have it to this day. Patrick has a question for you, Carly. Patrick Cross. Do you have any ghosts around you where you live? Anything haunted happening?
There's no ghosts here. I can tell you that. No, not anymore. I don't know about anywhere near us. I know.
We have
Music Hall does.
Co's Music Hall. We have there's a few locations. There's the old
cemetery over in Troy, right?
Yeah, the old Troy
the Mount Ida Cemetery.
And the building itself, the Mount Ida building. There's also Salem, New York courthouse and jail.
The
Salem, New York, not Salem, Mass. Salem, New York, not Salem, Mass. It's a Salem, New York courthouse and jail. That's a haunted location. There's quite a few, actually. There's a couple up.
That's right next door to my hometown.
Yeah, there's a old sanitarium, I believe, further up that our buddy, what's his name, is involved with. I'm talking about Steve. The other Steve, not Steve Coles. Steve B.R.I.T. Steve B.R.I.T. It's an old hospital sanitarium kind of place that a friend of his bought, and we're planning on doing you could investigate the place and stuff like that, and then all this stuff hits, so we're kind of shut down for now. Hopefully he gets come back from that. So we have quite a few different places around us here, Patrick. Some we can get into, some we can't. I mean, I got a very haunted old monastery down below me, but I can't get in there. The church owns it, and they won't let anybody in.
The apartments over by Hudson Valley.
Yeah, the apartments that are at the Hudson Valley used to be an old monastery there too. They knocked it down, and I know they still have hauntings in the new building that they put up on top of that same location. So that's the way it is. Carl has a question for you, our buddy Carl Mitchell. When did Carly become aware of her abilities?
That's kind of a loaded question because I've noticed. Well, when I was growing up as a kid, I have had these abilities like full blown since I was really young, but it never occurred to me that it was not normal. I don't want to say it's normal, but not everybody around me had the same abilities, so I just that was just my norm. I was not able to put a name to my abilities until I met our mutual friend. And I kind of, described my abilities to her. As you guys know, it was a very taboo subject growing up from when I was a teenager, so I barely ever talked about it to anybody. So I had a lot of questions unanswered. So I would say probably pretty recently, within the last few years, I've really realized what abilities I have and, how that, contributes to the paranormal and everything. So, yeah.
And just quickly, good night, Bobby Carter. She's taken off. So,
hey, Bobby.
And Denise Severson asks, "Have ever been to Viscilla, the Viscilla X murder house?" No, I have not. I have friends of mine who've been there, but I've never been there. There's one place I would like to go and investigate at some point. And Teresa Bruce says, "Hello from South Carolina." Hello, Teresa. I hope everything's good down there. But yeah, the Viscilla. Excuse me. The Viscilla
made it.
Axe Murder House I would like to get to sometime. Yeah, I almost did make it. I did almost make it. Barry says, here, I'll put this one to you, Carly. I've heard that selenite can be used to recharge crystals.
Yes. So there's more attributes other than just like sand, water, moonlight. You can use your own energy to cleanse crystals. You can use other crystals to cleanse crystals. You can, let's see, in order to recharge crystals, I know you use actual like kinetic energy. So you roll them in your hand to recharge crystals. It just depends on the crystal. You just gotta, tourmaline is the one that you rub in your hand to recharge.
Right.
And I use my own energy to cleanse them.
Yep.
So a lot of visual stuff, but yes, there is tons. It just depends on what crystal you have.
All right, so I'm going to ask a question of my own.
Okay.
Is there anybody out there listening tonight or watching us tonight that has not seen my episode yet that would like to see it? Because I actually can play it for you right now if you'd like to see it. Don't tell anybody. So if I see some things that anybody like to see it, we can watch it. It's only 12 minutes. Believe it or not, the whole thing is like 12 minutes long. No commercials. And here's a question from it's from Patrick. Any caves haunted have weird entities you know to investigate? Seems a lot of people are investigating caves lately. No caves around us, Patrick. We don't really have a lot of that. We do have an old train tunnel not far from us, just over the border in Massachusetts, that is supposedly haunted, and people do investigate in there. You got to be careful because train still runs through it. So we're getting some responses. A few people say, yeah, they'd like to see the show. So let me see if I can pull this up for you now, and we'll try to get this started. So bear with me for a minute, and I should be able to add the media. I'm going to step down and let you guys watch this for a few minutes, and I'll come back. My sister and for friends, they decided to break out the spirit board and have a seance. I was sitting on All right, can you guys hear me out there? So there you go. That's the show. That was my story. I'm gonna bring Carly Hall back up here too, if I can. Here, hang on a second, Carly. I gotta delete that so I can see more of my screen. There we go. So coming at Carly in 3, 2, 1. There she is. And just so you guys know, more of what the thing I saw what it really looked like, I found this image. There's what it really looked like. As compared to what they showed on the show. This was from what Zach Bagans showed on his the Demon House, the documentary. This is actually what I really saw, was that right there, just so you guys got an idea. All right, so that's what we saw. And Pam Miller had messaged me and asked if we could give a shout out to her or answer a question for her. So I told her, I said, Pam, we need you to message something so we let you know that you're there, because we only know if people are here if they message us. So she did. She says, hello from Edmonton. I was wondering if there is anything she can tell me, pick up on for me. I mean, Carly, are you talking about Carly? I would tell you, Pam, if you'd like Carly to try to figure out something for you. We don't really do that on this show here. We just do question and answer. We don't do readings on the show. But you can message Carly privately and talk to her privately, and maybe she can do something for you there. We just keep things more general questions about the paranormal, stuff like that. Like I said, we just don't do readings on our show, but Carly can try to help you out if you message her privately. Okay. And we'll work it out from there. We just don't like to do your stuff in front of everybody else that's watching tonight or watching on here. We rather keep those type of things more private. So that's why we just do that. There is other places, other friends of ours and stuff who do readings online. And they have a show around the same time we do, and we can always give you their name too. But Carly can try, but contact her privately. So I'll leave that at that. So, but Pam, always good to have you listening. Always good to hear from you. And we did the thing about caves. A lot of people investigating caves lately. Blah, 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 blah. Bobby Carter, and then we had some other questions. I know. Here's one. Bob Burnell. Has anyone ever investigated where the World Trade Center stood? Not that I'm aware of. I don't think they really want people doing that there. I don't think they allow it. If somebody has done it, they've done it very quietly. I'm not sure if I would, to be honest with you, just out of respect for all those that really died there. There was so many. I think residually things probably do happen there. I think people.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I would think on those grounds, people probably do see things and experience things and hear disembodied voices, maybe screams. Who knows? A lot happened there, so there was a lot of very negative.
That was my first day of kindergarten.
Yeah, I was at work at the time, Carly. Yeah.
But no, I can
home.
imagine.
From work that day, but I personally don't know if I would really want to investigate it. I'd rather see more just prayer done there, blessings for the people that passed there, and just if there is anybody stuck there, just try to move them on.
And prayers for the people that are still dealing with the health issues that. For all like the rescue teams or the people who actually survived it, they're coming up with a lot of health issues because of it. All the chemicals that they inhaled and, the debris, it really had a huge effect. So definitely those guys too.
Yeah. But that's our perspective on it, Bob. But I can see the curiosity of wanting to do that. And, I'm sure it would be done respectfully, but I can understand that. It's just not something I personally would I think do, unless it was done in a very specific and very respectful way. And what would be the intent of it? What would be the purpose of doing it? Just to see if there's anything there? I wouldn't do it for that purpose. I would do it if there's a building there or location there now that's experiencing a lot of haunting and it's really affecting the living people that are there. I might investigate then to try to help figure out what's going on and help solve that problem or move along whoever might be stuck there. That would be the reason for doing it. Barry has a question. There's a lot of problem. He's talking about what? The minerals. problem that I have is that I have a lot of minerals and rocks. This goes back to the crystals thing that make it difficult to move to the outdoors for cleansing. Gotcha. I think you're probably talking about the big stuff, Barry. And there is ways to cleanse them, even if you can't move them, and
Yeah.
you can wipe them down with either clean dry cotton cloth or a damp cotton cloth, just with water. Just wipe them down, take the dust off of them. Don't use chemicals at all. You can just dust them with a duster. There's different things, but don't use chemicals on them, things like that. But you can use water to clean them with, especially the large stuff that you can't move. So those are good cleansing ways too. If you can get any sunlight on them at all, that would be helpful, or moonlight.
And energetically, I would recommend researching, depending on what minerals and crystals you have, researching certain crystals that absorb all of that energy and kind of just run it across or around, or even place it near the crystal or mineral that you want to cleanse. And then take that crystal that absorbed all that energy and then cleansing that. So, depends on what you have again.
Right. And Regina just had a question about seeing your show, Carly, Dark Dreams. You might find it now on YouTube.
I think so.
If you do have Netflix, it's only season 1 and 2 of Paranormal Survivor on there right now, but eventually you might see the rest of the seasons show up on Netflix if you have Netflix. If you don't, again, I would try searching out YouTube, see if you can find it on there. Again, it's Paranormal Survivor, Dark Dreams, season 5, episode 5. So you can try to check for it on there. I haven't looked in a long time. I know it was on there one time, then it was gone, and I think
that was funny. We hadn't even watched it, and someone came up to me and was like, "I saw your episode." I'm like, "How was it?" I didn't see it. How was it? They found it on YouTube, but it was taken down by now. But I'm sure you can find it.
Yeah. And Sparky just said, Jack, your sister look to have each other. We actually didn't talk much about this. We were little Sparky. We didn't talk amongst each other too much about any of this stuff. I used to talk to my mother about it, though, so I did have somebody, and my sister did, too. But we didn't talk to each other much about it. We just talked to our mother about it. Like, I didn't know a lot of what Shelley had gone through until I saw this show, either. So it was just things like that. But yeah, you're like Carly. I mean, 6 to 10 years old is pretty young to go through stuff without it. But Carly, the same thing. She was very young, had nobody who believed her. Her adopted parents believed she was nuts, so they weren't even trying to help her. So she knows exactly what you're talking about. And if you ever want to talk about it, we're here. We're here.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. I love listening to other people's experiences. I have people that email me and message me a bunch of times to tell me about their experiences. And, if you have any questions or recommendations, I've been there, man. I know.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah.
I know. But,
And Kathy and everybody else, you're more than welcome. Glad I was able to share that with you. I'll probably have to pull it from the upload when I put it up on YouTube, because I probably shouldn't have shown that to everybody online here. But we'll call it a watch party.
People can record it on their DVRs now, so I guess it's not really that different.
You're still not supposed to.
No.
But anyways, we did a watch party. That's what we did.
Yeah, we did a watch party.
It's all good. We did a watch party. So that's what we did. So yeah, crazy stuff. Yeah, it was when you experience it and you're wide awake and you experience these things and you have crazy stuff happen in the meantime. Yeah, it's a bit much sometimes, and that's why I got away from the paranormal altogether for 20 some odd years. And Joanne says Carly is a medium.
So
she's actually kind of a small, actually.
Extra small.
Petite? I don't know.
A note on that.
Go ahead.
I have had with my. I've been studying a lot with my faith, and I've been studying under Father Ed. My abilities have actually gotten a factory reset, and actually have kind of made a turn. So my I don't really know how to describe it. My abilities are different from what they used to be. I can't necessarily now really talk to family members who have passed on, but I can talk to, say, like, I can read the situations and not directly talk to the person, but I can get a good sense of what's going on and any messages or intent that's meant for you, if that makes sense.
And just quickly, if somebody is looking for, it looks like Bob Burnell found your Dark Dreams on YouTube. So there's the link. Bob posted it in Facebook, so you guys can click on the link there.
And yes, Bob, we know you meant no disrespect.
Yep. Yes, we know you meant no disrespect.
Yes.
I've just, I go over what I would do, what I personally things. I didn't think you meant any disrespect, Bob. So don't worry about that. Not a problem.
And thank you for the link.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. God bless you too, Carl. Our buddy Carl says, "Bless you, Jack."
Oh, thank you.
Bless you too, our friend. And we'll be doing some stuff together later in the year. And I got a question. Denise asked, "Ever been to Eloise in Michigan?" No, I have not. I have not been too many places out west. Couple places in Ohio. One was Madison Seminary. Very interesting place. I really liked it. Great place. And Joanne again says, "Oh, cool. Thank you. You're very welcome, Joanne." So yeah, Madison Seminary I'd like to get back to again. I really did enjoy that place. When I was there, I had experienced a lot of things and had a lot of activity. I know it was on Ghost Hunters and they didn't seem to really get too much, but I can tell you when I was there, and also when I was there, we were there for an event, but Michelle Bellinger was there, and she had a lot of experience in the section she was in, while I was in another section with groups, because we were each taking groups to different parts of the building. But very impressed with the place, actually. So Madison Seminary, very, very good, very active place. Hopefully we can get everybody back up and running pretty soon, because I'd love to get out there and just investigate. Not taking a group or anything. I just like to go out and investigate sometimes, people. I don't get to do that. We don't get to do that too much. We're always either working cases or, we're, doing events and things like that, which are always fun. But sometimes we just like to go out and investigate with our team and our friends and just hang out and have a good time. So, we're at our time. So if you're looking for any of any good reads, you can find my books on Amazon.com. Looking at starting, I'm going to be contacting my artist friend pretty soon, and I think we'll be coming out with a new comic book. The current one is Spirits, The Forgotten Souls of Bay Path. It was the very first thing we ever put out, illustrated by Alex Cormack, so I'm going to reach out to Alex again. I have my other books. Hauntings was a fun read. Now that you're stuck in, everybody's stuck inside. You need a good read. You like books, pick up that one. Everybody seems to enjoy that one. And if you're learning to learn more about investigating, paranormal research, Comprehensive Guide to Building a Strong Team is my other book. And that's the book I use for my paranormal classes, which we will be doing, God willing, with two of the local colleges here in the fall, Hudson Valley Community College and Schenectady County Community College. So hopefully we'll get all that done. And Kathy says, "Great show. Thank you." But one last quote tag was from Denise. She asks, "What is your feelings on investigating cemeteries?" You can investigate them during open hours, which is dawn to dusk. You really shouldn't be in them after dark. They're supposed to be closed to the public after dark. So remember that. I did have to investigate a couple related to cases, interestingly enough. I have investigated one for an event because we had permission to do it, and that was Mount Ida Cemetery over in Troy, New York. Very, very haunted location, actually. I don't usually think of cemeteries as being haunted, but that had something very negative around it.
I have an interesting story about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this was when I was with Stacy Horton and Steve Coles. and we were investigating Mount Ida because they were doing like a preliminary investigation for an event that they were doing there. And so Stacy, Steve, and I, and a person who had opened up the cemetery with us, he had to stay with us while we were there. We were standing on the far side of the cemetery in the back, and Steve had to go to the car to get like a sweatshirt or something. And so he left us. He was looking in the car for the stuff, and Stacy and I were talking to each other, trying to ask questions, getting responses. And we looked up and we saw this guy. Stacy and I both saw this guy approaching Steve. And Steve closes the door. He starts walking away. The guy looked like he was talking to Steve and walked behind the car towards him and was like trying to get his attention, but then the guy kind of walked away. And Steve is coming up the road, and we're like, is this guy like gonna try and like attack him? Like what was that whole situation going on there? Like that was just really odd. And we messaged him, or we went on the radio and we were like, hey, are you talking to somebody? He's like, no, nobody's over here. Stacy and I both saw. It was insane.
Tell me about that.
Well, there was obviously no one there. It was the spirit. And so Steve came back and we were talking about it. Well, we all decided to head back to the truck to tell him where the guy was and, go back on what happened. There was across the street, there was a ambulance that had come, and there was someone who was having a medical emergency directly across the street from the cemetery. And Steve, being like, he's a person who, looks out for people, probably was someone trying to, reach out. And we don't know if that's directly related. That's what we kind of maybe possibly assume, or it is associated with the cemetery. We don't really know. But, that was crazy. That was cool.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. That was very interesting. Very interesting.
It was interesting.
And MJ, if you're still out there, yes, the paranormal courses will be in the evening from 7 to 9 p.m. And then there's an investigation that's also included. That'll be probably on a Sunday night from like 8 to or 7 to 11 p.m. That is part of my course. Is you have class time course and you learn stuff there, and you do an actual investigation to put what you learned to practical use. And we come back, we review your investigation, what happened, what any questions you got on it, what evidence you may have found. We do all that. We actually teach you and try to help you learn good techniques and good practice to do when actually investigating. And you can't do that unless you actually do an investigation during that process. So that's what we include with ours that most places who run paranormal 101 courses, things like that, don't do. Some do, but not all. We're one of the ones that does, and we are doing it through the local colleges. So just a more formal, official setting. So I hope you can join us, MJ, and anybody else when the time comes. Again, that'll be this fall. Here in Troy, New York, and Schenectady, New York. The local colleges, Hudson Valley Community College and Schenectady County Community College. So that's it. All right, everybody have a great night. I hope you enjoyed the show once again. We love you all. Guys, take care of yourselves. Be good out there.
Bye.
Stay
We'll
healthy.
see you next Tuesday, God willing, at 8 o'clock.
Yep. Yeah, seriously. Hopefully we'll be on time. We won't have technical difficulties. All right, everybody. Take care. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.